Tyler M. and Luke C. in Mr. LaFar's Period 2 honors class here, reporting on Japanese Americans and how World War II affected their lives during that era. They came in to America mainly along the West Coast in the hope of eventually becoming business owners, but first they started out as cheap labor. Then as time went on, they slowly began to watch their dreams escape from their hands due to the laws later put in place. They came into America in a time where society was greatly anti-Asian, and they basically took on all the discrimination the Chinese were experiencing. As more times passed, discrimination laws were passed against Japanese Americans, which made them not have the same rights as others, and then in 1924, all immigration from Japan was stopped. The majority during World War II, the majority of Japanese Americans were placed in confinement, so their role during the war was minimal. Although most of them did not play too big of a role, there were also more than 33,000 who served in the military. They did not only serve in the military, they were a major role during the war efforts. Then, Executive Order 9066. The start of World War II for America were the events that occurred at Pearl Harbor, which was an attack by Japan. This made all Japanese Americans be seen as enemies in the eyes of most Americans, and this led to Executive Order 9066 being signed by President Roosevelt on February 19, 1942. This basically took away the rights of the Japanese Americans, and then they were evacuated from their homes and placed in isolated areas, and they lost almost all they had.
Treatment in America today. What often is accompanied by racism in the United States today is its stereotypes. During the late 20th century, Japan grew as a world power in technological industries and production. It is often assumed, sometimes unintentionally, that the Japanese and other Asian races are smart and do well in school. However, there is no political and social barriers that occur today that dramatically influences the life of Japanese U.S. citizens. World War II aftermath. The Japanese-American Claims Act was signed by President Truman in 1948. This act was used as compensation for the economic losses that Japanese Americans went through in World War II. For the most part, the Japanese were easily acclimated to American society. They often shared some traits of being intelligent, hard workers, which caught the attention of a number of employers. A land of opportunity. The Japanese began to value the United States' idea of democracy and capitalism. The Japanese were able to make the transition from aggressors to allies in a crucial part of modern-day American society. The Japanese have very significant cultural influence in American society, from media and products to food, and our slogan is from aggressors to allies. And here are our sources. Okay. Allies now. After all the chaos during the World War II era, America and Japan are now allies.